Welcome to the PDS vConnect event, Empowering Employee Remote Access with VMware Workspace One. My name is Dave Bush. I'm a field solution architect, and I want to kind of have an interesting discussion with you. The agenda or the questions I hope to answer today are: employee experience is important. What is a digital workspace? Why VMware? Why Workspace One? And what next steps can I take to move down this path? The digital workspace is just all about people and their experiences. And the impact of the employee experience is really got a strong correlation to employee business performance. And whether it's as simple as your net promoter scores being higher and allowing you to attract more employees, or whether it's the kind of competitiveness, being able to create technical differentiation, product differentiation, and basically overall contribute or grow your bottom line. So at the end of the day, what I want to really kind of instill is that there's a strong correlation between employee experience and business performance, something that I challenge you to think about. Another reason is that we're all competing for the same talent pools, and the younger students and people are coming out of the into the industry are really focused on employee experience, and that becomes a criteria for them. And as we can see in this chart, boomers and generations like myself, Generation X people like myself, are maybe focused on the paycheck and the, where do I work and what do I have to do kind of thing. But a lot of times with the millennials and Generation Z people, the other influencers are around employee experience and work-life balance, and what are the tools and processes that I need to do in my job to keep it interesting and keep things moving. And so it's a different set of priorities that we traditionally have been delivering through IT that these type of applications like Workspace One can help with. Today's IT teams are always challenged. I was an IT director, and this budget is always a big issue: less people, more work. And at the end of the day, what it ends up doing is creating sometimes different kinds of delays in the process, or delaying entire people down because the people that they do have are involved in manual things or doing things that are not always customer facing. And sometimes people who are working with IT just literally think access agony is going to get me. And so what IT can do is try to streamline their process and work with the other entities that they need to, like security, in enabling these type applications. People like the application developers, they may be frustrated with IT, and they may want to go off and use their credit card and start up an AWS account, start developing some applications. But when they go to bring them into production, they've got a different set of challenges because the security team thought they were developing on their own infrastructure inside of their data center with security around it. In reality, may have been working on a public cloud, which is maybe in some people's eyes not as secure, depending on how it's implemented. And so you kind of get this security slide or slippery slope that I think this little VW bug is challenged by going down the picture here. But these things like shadow IT and application sprawl are real things that are impacting IT and in many times in negative ways, as well as different initiatives that are being directed at them, like cloud adoption, or being able to balance security with different things. IT teams are not always known for their rate of change ability, and that's a big opportunity, for you people to help evolve your own organizations by leveraging tools and processes that take people kind of out of the back and move them to the front to work with your customers directly, and not be kind of in the back integrating everything. The digital workspace is really an integration of technology that enables employees to access the systems, applications, and tools that they need from any device, regardless of their location. It's a pretty simple statement, but there's a lot to it. And the reason is that our environments are built around kind of a protected IT infrastructure that's got network and security wrappers around it that keep everything secure. So if your desktop is inside the IT network, then you're perceived as secure. If your applications are running inside of that infrastructure, you're perceived as secure. Well, the reality is that we need to sometimes be outside of that perimeter, whether it's flexible work styles, applications that we're now starting to leverage that may be cloud-based applications like for our email or something, and then being able to leverage different device choices. And there's different things that can kind of really compel this to accelerate, and like the COVID-19 situation has really created an urgency to quickly do this. Well, a lot of companies, in their desire to stay in business, but their lack of ability to deliver these features, had to start doing things like compromising their integrity and making themselves more open to hackers and bad things happening, malware, different things that can really eat away at their infrastructure and cause them a lot of problems down the road, whether it's a breach or just impacting some particular applications in a negative way, or kind of stifling the ability for customers to get into their company applications. And all these different types of cyber threats are real, and they're happening every day. And in fact, they've increased over the COVID period because the bad guys know that companies are making compromises. And the part of the challenge is that the different teams that have to work together to deliver these solutions are often on their own paths. They're kind of headed towards the same direction, but they're taking route 1 and this one's taking route 2. So that might be your identity and access management, security and network teams. That may be your application delivery teams, or your desktop support and mobile support teams that are just kind of building images and patching them as they go. Well, instead of spending a lot of time patching them, they can be leveraging automation that would allow them to get more done with less people, and those people can still be in part of the process, and their knowledge is very important to the success of the organization. It's just that you're using their time more effectively to meet the customer needs, not just with busy work. And this transition to a digital workspace is not simple. It takes some effort and it takes some planning. And we got to basically start redirecting traffic out of the old road, to a new path, this kind of transition to the next generation of technologies, of which the digital workspace is part of that. And by enabling that, we might pick off different groups of people that we can start on first, like new employees and things like that, and start moving them to this newer model. And over time, eventually get everybody redirected onto this model, so we can simplify that IT support and infrastructure environment through things like automation and managing through better insights, understanding who's really using what, so that the IT resources are being used effectively, delivering any application and managing these assets effectively. And more importantly, like I've been talking about, managing that user experience. And with VMware, this workspace comes as part of a framework to end user computing. And this framework includes end user computing, as well as all the core infrastructure that we're used to running. So we want to be able to support basically any device, any application on any cloud. That may be a hybrid cloud, internal, a private cloud, public cloud. And we want to be able to do it with the same level of security across all these platforms, so that we're not bolting on one security tool for our cloud-based solutions and another security tool for managing our devices, and yet another security tool for managing our traditional network and applications running on those. VMware is one of the few companies that are really delivering a full stack, a software-defined data center that has these capabilities built in, from endpoints to core applications to networks, to being able to move workload actively throughout these different entities, cloud entities and on-premise and things like that. Within that Workspace One platform, we see the basic mantra of consumer simple and enterprise secure. Very easy to consume and consistent security throughout the platform, as well as the overall solution. So there's really two components that we're looking at here. One is around the workspace experience. So this is the application delivery and helping those employees get what they need in a timely manner, as well as the endpoint management, securing the actual hardware that they're using, whether it's one set of policies for corporate-owned devices and another set of policies for BYO devices, because obviously when people bring their device to to the table, then you have to protect their personal stuff and not necessarily commingle your corporate stuff with their personal stuff, which is what a lot of customers are doing today. And the end result is that if that employee goes away or that device gets lost, there can be a lot of data compromised just because of how they're treating those um, remote devices. So a good example of this that I like to talk about is with the Red Cross. The Red Cross, like I'm kind of down in Florida in the ocean area here, and we have hurricanes. And so the Red Cross, we may have a major hurricane. The Red Cross may deploy 500 people to us to come help. Well, out of those 500 people, 450 of them may be contractors or volunteers or people that are being donated by other business entities to help. But yet the Red Cross has to protect the data across those people and the 50 employees that are maybe running corporate issued PCs. They need to protect that data consistently and yet provide application access to everybody, again, consistently. And the Workspace One platform is really a great way of doing that. That Workspace One platform can basically run policies based on what the employee's kind of relationship is, their location, the devices that they're using, and that all gets grouped together, and you set up different groups of employees and different groups of applications that are basically administered through policy. So when you roll out those 450 volunteers day one, they have a great day one experience. All you've had to do basically is introduce a user ID for them, send them an email and whatever, associate them with some groups that they're going to be working with, and then based on those associations, then the policies are executed immediately when they start, and they have access to those applications through a self-service portal on their device, regardless of what kind of device they have. And this self-service portal becomes their best friend because it has everything they need from whether it's browsing or access to applications or help and interaction with other people, collaboration. There's built-in tools that can support the sharing of the data and a lot of stuff that they might need. And so if you think about those 450, maybe 50 of those people are working with people that are helping assess the physical damage to the infrastructure, the roads, the highways, the electric wires and things like that. Other ones may be working with the people that have been displaced by the hurricane and helping them work with FEMA to get cases started and help them resume their lives. And so you've got these different use cases and you need to be able to deliver that all very consistently and simply. And the Red Cross has made a really great example out of being able to do that. When we look at the goals of the digital workspace, there's really 4 primary areas that we're looking at. One is really what I've been talking about, simplifying access and application management. That's kind of low-hanging fruit, as well as the endpoint management, securing those devices. Other areas that a lot of companies struggle with is modernizing and managing their Windows 10 environments, having consistent patching and having images that are similar enough that they're easy to manage and monitor. And then a lot of companies are also looking at deploying virtual desktops now to provide a lot of this capability, as well as provide the environments that some of these people may need to run the applications that are necessary, that used to be easy to run inside the network, which aren't so easy now outside the network because they may require VPN, they may require other resources that we can actually all tie together in those policies so that we're providing that consistent control and management capability along with the functions that the customers need or the users need, employees. And so in this picture here, we've kind of got the traditional model that I've been talking about. IT's got to support the lifecycle management for hardware, drivers, operating systems, the applications that have to get patched and upgraded, the profiles for all that stuff. And of course, it has to have this overarching security capability. And that's why they're so stifled, is that this is a lot of work. And most often, they don't have enough people. And as I've talked about, kind of as we move to the Workspace One model here, Workspace One provides, I've mentioned the endpoint management piece, that's kind of the physical devices, the application management piece as well, delivering the applications that they need in time. And then the third piece that I've kind of touched on but not really gone into is the data that gets generated or is needed to be managed as part of those solutions. And so those 3 kind of values or functions are provided by this Workspace One portal. And this portal delivers the application, controls the content, and provides a very positive and consistent user experience, whether they're on a desktop, a tablet, or whatever, because it's not based on, we're not installing everything into that operating system. We're running it on top of that operating system in this portal. And the endpoints then become just devices to access it, and the different use cases around those devices are easier to support. So corporate devices may still be locked down at a certain level. BYO devices, you can't necessarily lock down a private person's access to a web browser or something, but from the portal you can. And so they can still do everything they did on the personal side, but now we're introducing kind of a work side. And oh, by the way, if something happens to that device or that person, then all you have to do is delete them out of the system, and it will automatically go through, or you can set it up to go through and do an enterprise wipe, where it's going to clear off just the enterprise data and applications that was delivered as part of that portal, and leaving everything else they have intact. And that's a big deal for a lot of people. If you've ever had your device wiped, you'll understand what I talk about. We also support other use cases like kiosks and retail operations and things like that that are becoming increasingly popular because they just don't have the money to hire all the people to take care of everybody. So they want to offer alternatives. Well, we don't have this size, but we'll give you free shipping if you order it while you're still in the store from our kiosk. If you go home and order it later, you're going to have to pay for shipping. So they want to kind of encourage people to still spend their money even when they don't have the inventory on premise to solve that, to make that sale. These solutions, as I mentioned, have to be simple and efficient. They have to provide that intrinsic or built-in security, and they have to be able to do it at reduced cost and simplifying the environment. And now in 2020, Workspace One platform has been further secured with the VMware Carbon Black product. VMware purchased Carbon Black last year. They're one of the industry-leading next-generation antivirus products. And they have not only the protection of the endpoints, but they also have a very intelligent monitoring and tracking and kind of tracing system so that you can quickly figure out how things are getting violated. You can quarantine the devices. You can recognize, it'll actually recognize what type of attack it is and give you choices. And if you set up automation for maybe the higher severity type attacks, other ones maybe just alerts that you've got some issues going on. But this Carbon Black product is part of that intrinsic security that I'm talking about. That's not only built into Workspace One, but now VMware's built into the VMware's vSphere, which runs the servers, and it's being built into the network. It's being built into all the components that you need to deliver this solution. And that's kind of part of this digital workspace model, is really being able to take advantage of a digital platform. When we look at how this product can be deployed, we have several choices. We can do on-premise for those that just want to install it and run it by themselves. We can do pure cloud. We can deploy it on just a pure cloud solution. Or most customers end up with a hybrid cloud because there's some stuff they want to run on-prem and off-prem. There's device and per user licensing. Typical users or users get 5 devices. So most users aren't using more than 1 device today. We have on-premise perpetual and cloud subscriptions, and there's multiple additions from basic functionality, like you just want to protect devices, to full desktop integration with Horizon. So again, back to this picture of the digital workspace. Now we've got the digital workspace beach resort, and we've eliminated, simplified the environment, created kind of a better partner to our business, and we're still part of that security solution, delivering everything that the kind of environment requires, but from a simple kind of standpoint. And how can I improve my digital workspace? Well, I suggest you talk with your employees and ask about their user experiences, and new employees and older employees, so that you can kind of get the different perspectives and consider what you can improve in your workforce to really properly empower these people regardless of their location. And finally, just reach out to your PDS account director, and they can kind of lead you through the deeper dive and how you can entertain some of this stuff. So again, very much appreciate your time, and I hope this was helpful for you. I'm going to leave us with the picture here of the digital workspace. Somebody excited about getting their new device, or somebody else got their application provisioned at the catalog But thanks again for your time, and I hope you have a great day.